Hey everyone, in today's Google Ads video, I want to talk about ad strength. A pesky little wheel you will encounter when creating your ads. Of course, the question here is, does ad strength really matter? As with most things in Google Ads, it depends. Before you decide if ad strength matters, it's important to understand what it actually means. Now, ad strength causes a lot of debate, which I find a bit unjust. Maybe the word strength is not the most accurate and it can be a bit misleading, but it often seems like people misunderstand what ad strength actually represents. An important thing to understand about ad strength is that more than anything, it tells you how diverse your ad is. Depending on what you're advertising for, you might not even be looking to create a diverse ad. When you hover over the question mark, it says ad strength is an indication of the relevance and diversity of your ad combinations. Now, even back in 2018 when it was first launched, it was already described as a tool to see how diverse your ad is or how many combinations could be made with it. To get started with ad strength, we recommend providing as many distinct headlines, descriptions, and other assets as possible. This will help Google's machine learning generate a larger number of relevant and effective ad combinations. In a more recent post on LinkedIn, Ginny Marvin explained again that ad strength indicates the diversity and relevancy of the assets to maximize the number of ad combinations. That is why pinning headlines negatively impacts the score. Now, depending on what you're advertising for, it might be very easy and natural to get that excellent, because you have a number of different keywords you can easily insert into the headlines. In other cases, you might only have a handful of keywords and the surface is so straightforward that you can barely think of 3 relevant and unique headlines. That's why it's important to remember that ad strength reflects the diversity and the amount of combinations possible. Not every ad needs this. I usually aim for good or average, but I do always look at what they indicate I'm missing. You see, in this case, I am only getting a good, but I've added enough headlines. I've included the keywords in the headlines. The headlines are unique enough and the descriptions are unique enough. So let's look at the categories that make up the ad strength. Ad headlines refers to the number of headlines. Now, this is arguably the least important. You can set up 15 headlines, but that might not always be necessary. Of course, it greatly depends on what you're advertising for and how many keywords you're using. If you're just stuffing headlines to get to 15, you might end up with the next issue, the uniqueness of headlines. It's pretty common to create headlines that are quite similar to each other, and you just hope Google's AI doesn't combine them into a repetitive headline. The more unique your headlines, the more it will improve the score. Similar to headlines, you also need unique descriptions. Now, you only have 4 slots for descriptions, which makes it a bit easier to fill up than the headlines. And then keyword relevance. In my opinion, this is the most important one and I always try to get a check on this. No matter what you're advertising for, you will want your keywords reflected in your ad text, which means there's a higher relevance between what the user is searching for and what your ad is showing, which will make it more likely that they will actually click on your ad. Of course, the landing page must also be relevant to those keywords, otherwise after clicking on the ad, they will simply leave your website again. Now, I've seen people get angry when they create a few headlines, pin them, and receive a poor rating. Then they proceed to write a bunch of nonsensical headlines, see the score goes up, and cry out, "Google thinks this is better than what I wrote." No, Google doesn't think it is better. The machine recognizes fewer or more combinations are possible. Google does a lot of shady stuff. For example, unqualified reps pushing auto-apply recommendations, but ad strength is not one of those shady things. You just need to understand what it represents and act accordingly. AI is here to stay and it's going to be a big part of digital marketing. And I think people really need to let go of the idea that it's them against the machine and understand it's you with the machine. Does ad strength actually determine performance? No, it doesn't. Now, I've seen accounts where getting an excellent score actually lowered the CPC, but I'm also working on an account that has a couple poor rated ads that have the best conversion rate of the account. No 2 accounts are the same, and you should always test, analyze, and optimize. That is how Google Ads works. I hope you learned something useful today. I hope to see you on my next video. And for now, I just wish you a great day.